Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. The show originally aired on Father's Day, June 17th, 2018. This is episode 1498. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Home plays a huge role in your life. That's why Quicken Loans created Rocket Mortgage. It lets you apply simply and understand the entire mortgage process fully so you can be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. Get started at rocketmortgage.com/techguy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Happy Father's Day. This is the show where we talk about computers and the internet and home theater and digital photography and smartphones and smart watches, augmented reality. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number if you have a question. But you could also have a comment or a suggestion. Just because it says Ask Leo doesn't mean you have to ask anything. 8888 Ask Leo. That's 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada outside that area. You could still call. Just use Skype or something like that. Skype out. Because it's a toll-free number, it shouldn't cost you anything. Website, techguylabs.com. I tell you that now so you don't have to feel like you have to write anything down if you hear something you want to remember or whatever. It's or something you disagree with. It's all on the website at techguylabs.com, and you can comment there. You don't have to yell at the radio. techguylabs.com, and it's free. There's no sign-up. I would feel guilty promoting it if it weren't, but it is. So it's just there for your benefit. techguylabs.com. E3, the big gaming conference, was this week. It's changed a little bit in the last few years. For one thing, for the first time in a long time, it was open to the public. I remember the last time it was open to the public, I went, maybe it was the CES, Consumer Electronics Show. And it was crazy. They decided not to keep it open to the public. Usually just open to the press and to the trade, people who are selling video games or, have stores, that kind of thing. But this year the public got in. Our nephew Mario went. He had a good time, saw a lot of games. It's really become mostly a preview of games that are coming someday in the near future. And if you're a gamer, I don't need to tell you anything about it. Gamers are a funny bunch. For a while on my podcast network, we thought we could do a show for gamers. Then we realized there isn't a group of people called gamers. There's people who play Minecraft. There's people who play Call of Duty. There's people who play Overwatch. There's people who play Fortnite. And if you're a Fortnite player, which is the hot game right now, you don't care about anything else. You don't want to watch or listen to a show about any other game. So people go, they're interested. If you're a console gamer, you don't want to know about PC gamers. If you're a PC gamer, you don't want to know about console gamers. Every year at E3, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, the three big console makers, have big press conferences. And most of the time, they talk about the next generation console. Sony did not, but they've released an update to the PlayStation fairly recently, the PlayStation 4. Microsoft keeps updating the Xbox and said, we're going to do it again I think they said 2019. I don't think it'll be this year. New Xbox. Okay, you excited? Yeah. One of the things I thought was very interesting is that all the gaming companies, except Nintendo, which Nintendo's always been an outlier, but all the gaming companies want to do streaming gaming. So you don't need a console. It may be we say it every time, but it may be the last generation of console gaming. Because streaming means that you'd be able to play a game. Sony said you could play a game on anything that could play Netflix because they're going to use the same technology. That means all the work, all the stuff that the console or the big computer, the gaming computer would do, isn't done at your house. It's done on the servers. And why do they want to do this? Well, it's all in response. Everything that's happening in technology today is all in response to mobile. The fact that most of your computing now is on the mobile phone, right? The majority of the hours you spend on a computing device of any kind are on the mobile phone. Actually, the folks who do Skyrim, Bethesda Games, announced an Amazon Echo, I won't say her name, Amazon Echo version of that. I haven't played it yet, but it sounds kind of dopey. I mean, you can't see anything. You're just talking back and forth. Really, mobile is where it's at, not only for gaming, but for everything. That's why the merger of AT&T and Time Warner is so, I'm going to use the word troubling. A judge on Monday approved it. On Friday, it went through. That was it. Boom. Done. AT&T, which is a pipe company, right? They own the pipes, the long-distance telephone and internet. They're one of the big internet providers. But now they also own a lot of content. They own DirecTV. That's still a pipe, isn't it? Yeah, I guess that's a pipe. But now they own HBO. They own CNN. They own a lot of content. And they're doing it because, well, Comcast owns a lot of content too. The other big pipe company. They own NBC Universal, a movie studio. Well, you know, AT&T had to have one of theirs. So all right, now we have a movie studio. They own NBC, MSNBC. And of course, as soon as the judge said, yeah, no problem, Time Warner is in a different business than AT&T. There's no problem here. Comcast said, woo, yeah. And they went full speed ahead with their bid. They're bidding against Disney to pick up 21st Century Fox. So now I have a friend, Jeff Jarvis, who's a journalist, professor of journalism and a media watcher, who says this is just the old style companies trying to survive in a new world. And yeah, you could make that argument. Unfortunately, when these, I call them incumbents, the companies that are currently in power try to survive in the new world, often what they do is they squash the new world, at least temporarily. They say, we got to hold on to what we got. And so by buying content companies, I think it's a huge conflict of interest. I think the judge got it 100% wrong. He seemed to think that those were different businesses, but when distribution companies own content companies, that's a problem. The last time that happened was when the movie studios owned the movie theaters. That was a big problem, right? Because if you weren't one of the big movie companies, if you didn't own your own theaters, you wouldn't even try to make a movie. You couldn't get it in a theater. There's nowhere to show it. So now when the cable companies, the ISPs, own the content companies, they're going to prioritize their stuff, coincidentally, or maybe not. Net neutrality went away this week as well. That's perfect opening for AT&T to say, hey, good news, now HBO and CNN won't cost you anything to watch on our network. But that means Netflix will, right? And so what are you going to watch? Well, you're going to pay attention to that, and you're going to... Now, customers like it. And it's one of the reasons I think the judge said okay, because it saves them money, right? What could possibly be wrong with that? Then it's a hard one to put over. But let me kind of say that, yes, it saves you money, but in the long run, it favors content companies owned by the pipes and disfavors anybody else. And so it's a lot like those movie theaters. You're not going to see movies made by anybody but the big motion picture studios that own the movie theaters because there's no point. It's going to get harder and harder. And I think for small digital broadcasters, like, by the way, me, that's why I'm interested, to survive in a world where the companies that distribute the content own the content. It's, I think, a massive conflict of interest. But we shall see. We shall see. I tell you what, I think I should open the phones. I should let you call in and hear what you think. 8888 Ask Leo. Kim Schaffer's here. She'll answer your call, get you ready for your appearance on the air. We can talk high tech. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Let's get to the phones. Talk high tech right now, and we can solve your woes. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo on the line on the other end of the line, the talented Kim Schaffer should be answering your call. Hello, Kim.
Good morning.
Happy Father's Day.
Appropriate music there,
Yeah.
Michael.
Of course, Michael's always going to play the right tune.
Absolutely.
So you've been answering the phones. You came in. You lined them all up. You're ready to go. Who should I talk to?
How about Sylvie in San Diego looking for a photo printer?
Okay.
I think that's what she wants.
I think that's what she wants. Hi, Sylvie. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
I'd like your recommendation for a printer to print photographs. It's just for fun, my own photographs, but I'd like them to turn out well.
Yeah. And let me ask you about the sizes that you want to print. Do you want to print everything from a poster size to a 4x5, or do you have any preferences in that regard?
Mostly 5x7 and the 4x6 and some 8x10.
Yeah. So for Christmas this year, I got my wife a printer that's designed. So there's two technologies that you should know about for photo printing. One is something you're probably already familiar with, which is inkjet. They make inkjet photo printers that look quite good. They give you the same kind of glossy prints that you would get at a photo shop, the 1 hour photo, if they even exist anymore, or Costco if you bring your photos in there. And then there's a technology that's a little bit higher quality that companies like Costco use called dye sublimation. It's a little costlier per print, but it gives you a really kind of beautiful look. And if what you're looking for, so it depends on that issue, which quality you want, and then B, the sizes. And since you say you want prints that look like they came from the 1 hour photo or the Costco, the regular printing place, I would say take a look at, this is the one I got for my wife, the Canon Selphy, Selphy, because that is designed specifically for those 5x7 prints. It's about, I think it's about 20 or 30 cents a print. It's not super expensive per print. The quality is excellent. It's wireless, and you can print from your phone. That's why I think they call it the Selphy. It's a compact, very tiny little thing, and it makes it easy to print from your phone. If, on the other hand, you think you might want 8x10s or that kind of thing at some point, then you're going to go inkjet. A dye sub printer at that size would be too expensive, but inkjet's pretty economical for that. Maybe a little more than the dye sub, but not a lot more. And Canon also makes an excellent photo printer, the Pixma. I like them a lot. Now, the pros I know all use Epson. Those are the highest quality photo printers, and they're a little bit more expensive, but you can get Epson printers, and I should mention Epson's a sponsor of our show, but I've always used Epson for my photo printing, and you can get them printed at, I think, 19x14, much larger sizes as well. They have a variety. So if you just want to spend $100, get something simple that'll give you those 5x7 prints. In other words, if you want to replace the 1 hour photo, I would definitely look at the Canon Selphy. I think that's a really nice choice.
But that only goes up to 5x7.
But that only does, it only does the kind of standard prints. So if you want to go bigger and save money, Canon Pixma. If you want to get the very best, Epson.
Okay, thank you.
All right, my pleasure. Yeah, in fact, if you're going to do black and white, the only one I'd recommend is Epson. It's hard to do black and white. Turns out hard to do black and white with an inkjet. There's a problem called metamerism, which is a fancy word for it don't look right. And that is difficult to solve with inkjet, as it turns out. But it's something that Epson seems to have solved with their inkjet printers, their black and white inkjet printers. So everybody who does monochromatic printing that I know of, every photographer does that, uses Epson printers. And they have a range. You go from the pros to the less expensive consumer grade. Deborah's in Toronto. Hello, Deborah. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. Thank you so much for taking my call.
My pleasure. Thank you for calling.
I would like to wish you Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
Let you know I'm a loyal follower of all your shows. They're very helpful and they're so informative.
Bless you. Bless you.
So a while back, you recommended the Dell XPS 13.
Yes.
So, of course, I went out and purchased one.
Uh-oh. I hope you're happy.
I switched it to the XPS 15.
Yeah.
Because to gain one more USB port, I was hoping for 3, but it only came with 2, and the XPS 13 only had 1.
Yeah.
So is it possible to install Office 2016? Is there a 32-bit version, or what's the difference? I think it's easier to manage the ribbons when your site is bad.
So you want the older Office, you're saying?
No, Office 2016. Does it not come in a 32-bit version or no?
I think it is 32-bit.
Oh, it's not 64?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, that might be good news.
Yeah, it shouldn't be an issue anyway. Why is it that you want the 32-bit?
Similar to Office 2007?
Yeah, I mean, this is the real challenge for Microsoft is how are you going to improve a word processor that already has 1,000 functions? So they do, when they update it, they update a little bit. I would say it will be very familiar to you. I would look at, if I were you, instead of buying it outright, the Office 365 subscription. Because a home version of that is $7 or $8 a month, which is pretty affordable. If you're going to get more, it depends what programs you want. But the basic version.
Yeah, but I don't want to get tied into a subscription.
Okay. Yeah, but
but I might have a chance to buy a one-time version.
Yeah, it's just hundreds of dollars, but you get to choose. So Office installs. Let me just real quickly say that Office installs 32-bit unless you explicitly say 64-bit. There's no reason not to put 64-bit on, but if you want 32-bit, that's what you're going to get.
No, that is what I prefer, I think. But my next question, you're going to love it, Leo. I have a 64-bit Acer 64-gig Acer Switch 10 tablet.
Yeah.
I got it because it had a keyboard on it with a hard drive.
Yeah.
But somewhere along the way in the updates of one of the 1709s, they took it. 500 gig is not showing anymore. Can I get it back?
How much? You mean, are you not seeing it at all, or is it...
That's correct.
It's disappeared.
Not with my speech, I'm not seeing it, no. But how would you get it back? I need help to do it.
Well, what are you installing on if you don't have a hard drive?
No, I have the 64 gig, but it came with a 500 gig in the keyboard, believe it or not. I don't know if it's Diaconia. It's 2 years old in November.
Yeah, go to if you're not seeing it, it's probable that Acer's doing something unusual with a hard drive because of that keyboard connector. You probably need a driver. So go to the Acer site and get the latest drivers for the Switch 10. That's got to be it. I can't... I don't really understand why they did that, but I guess to save space. But then you probably need a special driver. So go to the Acer site. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Our show today brought to you by those nice folks at Rocket Mortgage. Let's give them a lovely round of applause. Rocket Mortgage. Thank you, Rocket Mortgage. From Quicken Loans, the #1 lender in the country in volume, but also in approval, customer approval. According to J.D. Power, #1 in customer satisfaction. Not just this year or last year or the year before, but for the last 8 years running for mortgage origination. Mortgage servicing last 4 years, since 2014. I mean, this is a good company. People love getting a loan from them. And geeks, you're going to love them even more because now Quicken Loans, realizing that the way you applied for a mortgage was kind of stuck in the 19th century. You know, it's practically like Dickens going to a bank and, please, can I have some money? And filling out a long application. They've decided to do the whole thing online. Easy peasy. It's so simple. You could do it from your phone at an open house. It just takes minutes. You go to rocketmortgage.com/techguy. You don't have, it's a simple application. You probably won't even have to look anything up. You just answer the questions you already know the answers to almost certainly. Then because they have trusted partners that allow you to, once you give them permission, give them all the information they need. You don't have to go to the attic to get papers, call the bank to get old check statements or anything. It's just automatic with a touch of a button. Based on your income, your assets, and your credit, they'll analyze all the home loan options for which you qualify, find the run that's right for you. You choose the term, the rate, the down payment. It is easy. It's simple. You'll understand every step of the way what's going on, and you can mortgage with confidence. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. But here's what I want you to do. Before you go out to the open houses today, I want you to Open up your phone and go to rocketmortgage.com/tech guy. Put a bookmark on your homepage. Say, maybe even start the process. Just get the account set up. That way, when the time comes, you'll be right. You go, oh yeah, let's buy this house. Boom, we're approved. That's cool. Rocketmortgage.com/tech guy. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS consumeraccess.org, number 3030. The easiest, simplest, best way to get a home loan. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently at rocketmortgage.com/tech guy. We thank them for making the Tech Guy podcast possible today. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. You're one of my kind, aren't you? Yes, you are. This is the show where we talk about tech. And I'm thinking about Deborah's issue with a couple of things. Deborah raised some interesting things. There is an Acer Aspire Switch 10 that weirdly puts a second hard drive. It's a tablet with a 64 gig hard drive in the tablet, and then puts a large spinning drive, I guess, a 512 gig hard drive in the keyboard. Then you can see the problems already because the keyboard's got to connect. It's, it pops off. It's one of those convertibles, so it's got to connect properly. And that'd be my guess is there's something going on there. If you can't see the hard drive in the disk management, hit Windows key X, choose disk management. You should see the drives. If you can't see that drive, that 512 gig drive, yeah, I would shut the computer down, make sure that connection is really solid in there. Boot it back up again, check again, see if Acer has drivers for it. I'm not really sure what they're doing. Is that an eSATA drive? Maybe it is. Make sure if it's not eSATA, if it's some sort of proprietary connection, you will need drivers from Acer for it to work. That's why I thought about the drivers, because she said it happened when she updated Windows, and that could happen, right? Your specialized drivers might get lost, and you want to reinstall those. And Friendly Manitoba checked the Acer community board and said reinstalling quick access might help. That would be another issue. When you installed Windows, wiped the drive and started over, you'll need to reinstall all the Acer tools, including the quick access tool, so that you can access all of it. It sounds like they're doing something odd, something interesting with that drive. Now, let me address real quickly 32 versus 64-bit. Deborah said she wanted a 32-bit version of Windows. I'm not sure why. It is the default version of Office. It is what we'll install unless you say otherwise. But there shouldn't be any difference in how it looks to you. Don't pay any attention to whether your processor is 32 or 64. That's kind of meaningless. The advantages of a 64-bit operating system are it can access more memory, but that's not an issue when it comes to applications. Maybe 32-bit might be a little bit faster. Maybe that's why she wanted it. 64. What these numbers represent is the size. It has to do with the processor and the size of what they call a register. In order for microprocessors to work, they have a couple of things they do. They have some microcode, which is programming that lets them to add, subtract, and move. A little bit of jumping, a little bit of if, conditionals, but not a whole lot. It's pretty dumb. It's because it works so fast, it looks like it's doing more than just adding, subtracting, and conditionals, but it can't. But that's basically what it does. But it has to operate on data, and the data isn't sitting on your hard drive. It's not even sitting in RAM memory. For a processor to work on anything, it has to store it in the processor in something called a register. And modern processors have many registers. When we talk about 32-bit versus 64-bit, we're talking about how big the register is. 32-bit means it can hold 8 bytes, right? 4 bytes, rather. 4 times 8. 8 bits in a byte. 4 bytes, 32 bits. It can hold twice that in a 64-bit register. The advantage, though, of 64 bits is maybe overstated a little bit. It's useful when you want to operate across a large chunk of stuff. Maybe you want to make the sky blue in a picture, and bigger chunks might be a little bit faster. But in a word processor, most of the time you're working with something called Unicode characters, which are only 16 bits wide. They don't even occupy all 32 bits of the register because that's text. So I don't know if there's an advantage to 64-bit. It conceivably could be slower because you're moving more data. Unfortunately, the computer industry technologies used this 32-bit versus 64-bit as a marketing term. 64-bit's got to be better, right? Twice as big, twice as much. It isn't always better. And it really is such an arcane detail. As I said, the biggest difference for the end user is a 32-bit operating system can only access 4 gigabytes of RAM. The maximum memory address space is 4 gigabytes. So on modern machines where we have 8, 16, sometimes even 32 or 64 gigabytes of RAM, not hard drive, but RAM memory, you want a 64-bit operating system to access that. That's the real advantage. That's a real advantage. I can't think of any other real advantage. In fact, I can think of disadvantages, frankly, of 64-bit. 8888 ask Leo, mostly that you're operating on more data than you need to sometimes. Mark's in Brooklyn. Hello, Mark. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Good afternoon or good morning where you are.
Yeah, good afternoon where you are.
Happy Father's Day, by the way.
Thank you. Same to you.
And actually, I was just in Petaluma about a week and a bit ago. I drove by the Twit Studios and just wanted to see where you guys are located and stuff.
Next time, come on in and say hi.
I knew you'd say that, and I'm like, I didn't want to go in there and bother anybody.
No bother. We love seeing our listeners. But anyway, thanks for waving as you went by.
Pretty much. I drove through the parking lot and waved and kept going.
Nice.
Okay, so here's my question. My company just started using LastPass in the last 6 weeks or so. So I thought, okay, this is great. I'll just start using it and putting in my own websites and creating passwords and et cetera. And I've been actually really enjoying using it. And then last week, Wednesday, I got a call from my assistant, and the president of our company said he doesn't want any of us using it for our own personal stuff because I guess we're on Teams and we can all see each other's things.
Yeah, he's right.
Right. So I understand in one of the versions you can have a personal account attached to it, but do you know if that's possible in Teams? Or do I have to start up my own LastPass account?
So I should mention, by the way, that LastPass is a sponsor, and we love them, and I use them. We use them in business. We use Enterprise, and it may be that's why we use Enterprise, because I have a LastPass personal account. Actually, it's a family account that I use at home with all my personal passwords in it. But I can stay logged into the Enterprise account and just have it be attached to it so that no one in the business part can see my personal. You don't want anybody to see that's a real security problem if everybody at work can see all of your passwords. So you want to keep them discreet. I don't know off the top of my head if Teams will do that. My guess is not. Teams is designed for smaller businesses, and we're small enough to use Teams, and I noticed that we're using Enterprise. So it would be my guess that our IT guy chose Enterprise specifically so that I could use LastPass, log in to the Enterprise thing, but have my personal stuff attached, just not visible to anybody at work.
Right.
So you probably do, at the very least, create a LastPass personal account and store your stuff there.
Right.
And then you can see if you can have your business account. The only advantage of that is you log in once, and then all your passwords are available. If not, all you have to do is switch accounts when you want to do your business stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a bit of a pain.
Let me ask. Yeah, no, I agree. That's a pain. Let me ask if the chat room anybody's using LastPass for Teams, and I'll ask LastPass next time I talk to him as well.
You can call me back and let me know.
I'll let you know. Next time you're driving by, just ask. Can it work with Teams? Yes, it can. But my guess is not. I bet you that's a feature of Enterprise. Yeah.
One other quick question.
And by the way, what we did, and this may be another feature of Enterprise, what we did when we signed up for LastPass Enterprise, we made it everybody in the company, as a benefit of working for the company, gets a LastPass personal account. And I bet you that comes with Enterprise. I don't know, but I bet you it does. And that's because we really want everybody to secure their passwords. Go ahead. Continue on.
From all the videos I've seen online, and I've checked YouTube and so on, and it's like you have to add the personal account. So maybe this is another part to this question. So I have all those on there. I know I've downloaded all my passwords and used all the different websites and stuff, and it actually downloaded all of our stuff from everything that we have in the company, which I can access all those passwords.
Hold on just a sec, because I do have to take a break, but I can help you off the air. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Let me. Yeah, I think that something went wrong there. I don't think it should conflate your personal passwords and your enterprise or your Teams passwords. You must have been using Teams when you made those passwords and saved them into Teams, right?
Right. And my assistant says she can see all the different websites, but she cannot see my passwords. I don't know. If
that's good.
I'm assuming.
That's good.
That's what she said. No, maybe she didn't dig deep enough to try, because I was able to download everything, and it saved it into some kind of a
it saves it as a text file. Yeah.
Right.
So what you can do is you could sign up for personal, import it into personal, and then you'd have it there.
That's what I was wondering.
Normally, the way we work, and it's just, I apologize for my lack of familiarity with Teams. I will make up for that. I will go out and find out. But normally, the way we work is you are able to save passwords to your personal vault or the enterprise vault. And when you're doing it to the enterprise vault, you can even then add additional permissions. So this is only for the engineers. This is only for the, office.
Right. Yep.
And I think you kind of I think your boss should want that, because you don't want everybody who has access to the company vault to have access to all the passwords. He's going to want to keep the payroll accounts private.
Right. Right.
You don't want anybody who is at work to be able to log into the payroll account.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
okay, so that's what I'll do. I'll sign up, and I'm thinking for my kids and I, maybe I'll just sign up for
get the family
one.
Get
and
the
then,
family. It's
and
worth it.
Use it also.
Yeah, it's worth
I
it
think
to
you're
use.
allowed up to 4 people, and there's only 3 of us. So
yeah,
that
we
works
use the
out well.
family. Let me see what LastPass Teams versus Enterprise. Let me just look at that. See, this all changed last year, and I should have kept up on this, but
That's okay. It's hard to keep up with everything.
yeah. Well, I try, and it's certainly our sponsors. I should be more up to date on sponsors.
Right.
Business and groups. The LastPass of this power. You have to be
So is that your gray Tesla in the parking lot there? Or is that
It is. You saw that, huh?
You were there.
I was there. Hey, really, seriously, we do say, don't drop in, but that's not strictly true. It's just we want people to email just so we have an idea. If you're in the area, come in.
Yeah, I was there for work for about 5 days. So I stayed in Petaluma for 3 days because of you saying how great it is there, and that's actually a very nice community.
Oh, thank you.
And a whole bunch of different municipalities.
It ain't no Brooklyn, but it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Teams does allow you. I wouldn't assume Teams does not allow you to link a personal account in. You might need a personal account to do it.
Right.
Yeah, I think that you could, if you had a families or personal account, you could use one login to your Teams version that would automatically include your vault from the other one.
Okay.
That's my sense of it. That's what we do with Enterprise for sure.
Maybe I'll just do a search for.
I think the issue was you didn't have your own personal account.
No, I just started using. I thought, okay, great. I have an account now. I'll just start putting in.
But you should talk to the boss about setting up different permissions, because you don't want everybody to have access to everything.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think that's what they were starting to do, and that's where this came up.
Yeah. He's right. You don't want your passwords visible to everybody in the office either, obviously.
No. Now, can I ask you a quick question regarding Carbonite, or do we have time?
I have 30 seconds.
I'm just wondering, I have an external hard drive that's connected to my network. I'm wondering if I can just have Carbonite saved from that.
No, Carbonite will the personal version only is an internal hard drive. You have to get a more advanced version to use externals.
Okay. All right.
And then you can, absolutely. Hey, thanks. I'm sorry you didn't stop in. Next time, say hi. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. Line 4, Tim in Moorpark, California. Hey, Tim.
Yes. Is there a possible way to make free phone calls with the landline, an old cell phone, or with the computer?
Free phone calls to where?
To other phone numbers?
Yeah. Almost all service, whether it's landline or cell service these days, doesn't distinguish between local calls and long distance. Remember those days when you would be calling a long distance? I'm calling my mom in Rhode Island, and I'll say, I got to talk quick. It gets long distance. Well, those days are pretty much gone. You should check your landline plan. But generally, if you can get, when you get landline service, you will get calls to the U.S., sometimes even U.S. and Canada, all at the same price. But you got to check, and it may be indeed that if you have a Lifeline service or whatever, you have to. There are some levels of service where you have to pay a long distance fee. If that's the case, ask the phone company. Hey, I want to make free calls to anywhere in the U.S. How do I do that? And generally, you'll be able to do that. Certainly, that's the case on all cell phones. All cell phone service that I know of, and again, maybe there's a lower level of service that's cheaper that doesn't include this, include all calls to anywhere in the U.S. You want to call overseas, that's a different matter. It almost always costs money to call overseas, but it's also a lot less than it used to be. I use overseas calls. I still use my carrier generally, but if you're worried about the cost of that, set up a line with Google Voice. This is a free service from Google, voice.google.com. It lets you make free call. You get your own number, a dedicated Google Voice number. You can make calls from that number to anywhere in the U.S. and Canada free. I think they still include Canada on that. And overseas calls are nothing, 2 cents a minute typically. They're very inexpensive. So that's another way to do it, is a free service called Google Voice. And you can have a separate number, put it on a cell phone, put it on your computer. You can't make a Google Voice call from your landline. So if you really want to use your landline, then that'll be another matter. You'll have to talk to your carrier. There's no such thing as free phone service, but if you're low income and you can't afford to pay $30 a month for phone service, ask about Lifeline service. This is government mandated. Every phone company has to offer fairly low cost. I think it's still $7, something like that a month. Lifeline service. You can make Google Voice calls from a landline, says Scooter X. How do you do that? You call a special number? Maybe that's the way to do it. You might have to call a special number and then continue on with the call. So that's possible. John in Vista, California? And there's just an extra U.
Vista, yeah.
Yeah, there's an extra U in there.
North County, San Diego here.
Yeah, I know where Vista is. Welcome.
Hey, I got a quick sequitur to the last call. There is free phone service, and I think you kind of turned me on to it. I got a Moto G5 Plus, and Sprint still has a free for a year deal.
What?
I don't work for Sprint or anything. Yeah, it's like a word-of-mouth deal, and I heard about it. It was either on your show or you're going to keep extending it, and I'm enjoying it.
So how do they make any money? Do they sell you the phone? What do they?
I am so intrigued by this that I researched it, and they say that their cost of customer acquisition, if they advertise this promo, would be about what it costs to give away free service.
So they don't advertise it.
They don't advertise, so they're hoping you stay with them for a year.
So it's $12. I'm looking at it. If you Google Sprint free for 1 year, you can find it $12.99 up front. There's no monthly fee.
There are taxes. It seems too good to be true, but there are. I pay about $7 a month in taxes for 2 lines, and I've been overseas. It's like T-Mobile. You have free international data.
You have to have a phone, of course, so you bring your own phone. Otherwise, you'll have to buy a phone. But
what they're really trying to do is take Verizon and Sprint, Verizon and AT&T customers with existing phones that are already paid off. But I just went out and bought a Moto G5 Plus, which is on the list, for like $180, and it works fine. They just send you this. They send you the cards, and off you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can only think that it's because they're merging, and they will merge soon with T-Mobile. I would guess this will not last. So do it now.
Yeah, I hope that merger doesn't go through because
it's going to go through.
T-Mobile's been so. Oh God, I know with this new administration.
Yeah, it's nothing. Nobody's stopping anything anymore. So it's going to go
horrible.
through. They tried once before. They were stopped before because it's felt that it's better to have 4 carriers than 3. But the problem is Sprint is so weak these days that I think they're just going to say, better to have a merged companies than no company. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And my main question, sorry about that, sequitur, but they talking about that last call, was I have this Lenovo Winbook. You know, I know how you don't like these things, but I love this thing. It was only like $120 at Best Buy. Little 110S. It only has 32 gigabytes of memory.
That's the problem. Yeah, the RAM.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So it won't update anymore.
No.
I've gone through this thing with, searching in File Explorer for gigantic, size, gigantic. No, that's Windows 7. But just right in File Explorer, you can search for gigantic. And there's nothing left. I've cleaned this thing off. There's nothing left except like DLL and BNEDB and
unfortunately the Windows upgrade. What version? You're on Windows 7 right now?
No, it's Windows 10.
It already is 10. You just want to get the new 1803 upgrade on there. Is that it?
No, I'm just trying to just reset it to factory default. It won't even update because it says it needs 10 gigabytes free, and I've done everything I can, and I only have 7.7 gigabytes free. Yeah,
and Lenovo says, sorry.
Yeah. I can't. So it's the catch-22. It won't, if you go to the reset this PC, it won't do it. If it says it throws up an error every once in a while when it tries to update, it says not enough room to update.
Here's a workaround that I've heard works. I haven't tried it. So what you're going to do is you're going to download the Windows Media Creation Tool because you got to wipe the drive, right? You're going to start from scratch. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Download from Microsoft. Don't get anywhere else. The Windows Media Creation Tool with Windows 10, and you want 1803, the latest version. And it's going to need extra storage, but you can use apparently, I'm told you can use an external drive for that extra 10 gigabytes. So you'll still be installing on the internal drive, but if you attach, I am told, it's worth a try. You could, even if you had a 32 gig USB key, plug that in. But if you can attach an external drive and tell Windows Update or the Windows installer, you can use that. I'm told this will work. It's crazy, but this is a problem. Is that these are very scant storage. You'd think 32 would be enough, frankly. Wipe it, use Windows Media Creation Tool, and use an external drive, and then cross your fingers. Let me know if that works. I'm told it does, but I haven't tried it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More of your calls right after this. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Yeah. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. 888-827-5536 if you want some hand-holding, a little help, a little information. If you're looking for a free phone service, wow, I can't. And what's great is I don't, obviously I can't answer every question. I try, do my best. But between the chat room, where there's hundreds of knowing experts ready to leap into the fray, and our great audience, there's probably no question we can't find something like that free phone service. Sprint says unlimited service for free. Is it unlimited? Wow. They did it about a year ago. I've been looking at this. It was supposed to be a limited offer, but I think given that Sprint's about to merge with T-Mobile, they said, oh, what the heck, let's just keep it going. They also have unlimited service for $15 a month. But still, you pay taxes. You do pay taxes. You have to bring a phone. 1 year of Sprint Unlimited, unlimited calls, texts, 4G LTE, 1080p video streaming, 10 gigabytes of mobile hotspot data. You pay $3 for the SIM card, $10 for overnight shipping. You'll also have to activate, which is a $30 fee. But you get that back after 2 months, and then Sprint charges $1.99 an admin fee and a 40-cent regulatory fee and whatever other taxes it's required to pay. And that's that. About $3 to $4 a month for a, quote, free line. Then after a year, you start paying. It does sound like you have to bring an active number from another non-Sprint carrier. So the idea is, let's get some customers. They're desperate for this. They need customers. But it's an interesting idea. It's clever. 8888 Ask Leo. See, you're helping. Anytime you call, you're helping. We put all the answers and all the questions up on the website, techguylabs.com. That's free, no subscription, no sign up. You just go there and there's a good search. You can find anything you want. 1,498 shows. It'll be show 1,500 in 1 week. That's a lot of shows. Audio and video from old shows is up there as well, so you can see what we were talking about in 2004. What was the hot topic in 2004? Gosh, I should go back and listen. The iPhone hadn't come out yet. That wasn't going to come out for another 3 years. Google was around. This year we're going to celebrate Google's 20th anniversary. 20 years. That's kind of amazing. But Google was still pretty new in 2004. Times have changed. We spent a lot of time in those days talking about Macs and PCs. You don't hear me say that much anymore. Macs or PCs or nowadays I say probably should just get a Chromebook. Don't get them. If you shouldn't get a Mac or a PC unless you say, I know I need Windows. I need a Mac. You don't probably. Only if you know it. You know you need it. Then maybe. Coming up, our photo guy, Chris Marquardt, in just a little bit. But first, Tom in New Hampshire. Hello, Tom.
Hello, Leo. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Okay. Well, I have an Apple TV 4K. Love it.
Yep.
And at WWDC, they were talking about having the Dolby Atmos stuff coming in the fall.
Yes. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah, because that's what I'm into. I don't care about the picture. And they're talking about some sound bars. Now, what sound bars do you recommend that are affordable that might work with this thing?
Yeah, I mean, Atmos, understand what Atmos is. It's and if you go to a theater that has Atmos, and more theaters do.
Yeah, we don't have anything like that here in New Hampshire. But.
Yeah, maybe not. That may be the case. If you get a chance to go to the big city and try an Atmos theater, you'll see they have speakers not only... it all started, I imagine, in the days of Bogey and Bacall with one speaker behind the screen, kind of in the middle, because that's where the voices came from. And then we got stereo in the 60s, right? Left, right. So you probably still had a center channel and left, right. And then as time's gone by with Dolby and other surround sound technologies like SRSs, speakers are now going all the way down the wall to behind you. And Atmos added speakers above you. So
I heard Scott talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very cool effect. And if you go see a movie that has Atmos sound in an Atmos theater, you'll see when stuff goes over you, when there's thunder and lightning, very, very frightening. It comes from above. So that's kind of neat. The problem with a sound bar is you're trying to simulate that whole thing, the center channel, the left, right, the ones behind you, and the ones above you, all with a thing that's just a bar under the TV or over the TV. It's at best going to give you kind of a hint of what it is. I wouldn't, in fact, to be honest, if you've got sound you're enjoying right now, I would just stick with it and not worry about Atmos.
Yeah, I use my AirPods most of the time.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, we can do better than AirPods.
Well, I love that because I can go anywhere in my room. I can move around. I don't.
Yeah, why not? How do you do that? You pair your AirPods to the Apple TV, and then the audio comes to the Apple TV?
Yeah, the Bluetooth setting. Yeah, and everything comes through the AirPods.
Well, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
I'll have to do that. And this lip sync is good.
Well, I can't see it, so what do I care?
Oh, you don't care. Because that's the one problem with Bluetooth. It's a little delayed, right?
Well, I don't know. I'm telling like it's delayed to me. But.
You can't. Who cares? Yeah. So Dolby.com, which is the Dolby official Atmos site, has a page called Soundbars with Dolby Atmos. Mm-hmm. And the one that I know that Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guru, generally likes. He likes the Pioneer. I don't see a Pioneer on here. Yeah,
I hit Amazon last night.
Yeah, I don't. Oh yeah, Pioneer Elite. Now I don't know if this will be inexpensive. The FS EB70. He also likes Onkyo. So those two are good. I don't think there's. I think the Yamaha would be fine too. The YSP 5600. And the Vizio is probably good too.
That's what I was looking at last night. Yeah,
it's going to be price specific. One of the nice things about the Vizio and others is that they include a subwoofer and an additional speakers. So that's going to make.
You don't have more wires to deal with. Either.
Yeah, I like that. But again, since you don't care about the latency, you won't mind this. But that is one issue always with wireless speakers. There's two, actually. There's latency, the delay. Bluetooth has a slight delay in it. But more importantly, issues with, getting disconnected. But if you don't have that problem, then you're fine. They say this will be available. This Atmos version of the soundbar will be available later this summer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So those are all good brands. They're going to be good quality. I don't think they're going to be really cheap because you're buying a premium product. And I just want you to understand.
So we're going to price like 500, 1,000. What are we looking at?
Yeah. I mean, you can get decent Pioneer sound bars for a couple of $100, but they won't have Atmos. Let me just see what Vizio wants to charge for their Atmos system. It's a pretty nice system. It's got, as I said, it's a 4-piece system, but do they have a price? Looking, checking, working. Yeah, of course they've managed to leave the price off. So I don't know what it'll cost. It won't be cheap because that's considered a premium product. And I honestly, the better way to do this would be to get some upward firing speakers. You don't have to put speakers in the ceiling. That's how it works at a movie theater. But Scott assures me, our home theater guy assures me, that you can have speakers that are reflective. If your ceiling's flat, not peaked, not arched, and it's low enough, then you could put speakers on top of your left-right channel that fire up and basically are bouncing the sound off the ceiling to your ears. And I've actually been looking at ELAC, E-L-A-C system that does that. I don't know how well that'll work, but the soundbar doesn't even attempt that. It does it really with computer imaging. It tries to trick your ears, and you can do a certain amount of that, trick your ears into thinking the sound's coming from above. But it's not. It's coming from right in front of you. So that's the limitation of a soundbar, unfortunately. Coming up in just a bit, Chris Marquardt, our photo guy. He'll be here about 1:30. We've got a photo assignment. He's going to talk a little bit about getting better photographs for yourself as well. But more of your calls, too. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hello, Chris Marquardt.
Hello, how are you?
I am well. How are you?
I am doing just fine.
Good. Sehr gut. Where are we going today?
We're going to shoot through airplane windows.
I just did that, and
What?
You're so funny. This was I'll show you, and you can help me fix my images, because you get a beautiful view, but these windows are made of plastic.
Oh, it's questionable if it's possible to fix that after the fact.
Oh no, bummer, man, bummer.
Well, let's find out.
We'll talk about it. All right. Yeah, Lisa and I went to Las Vegas for one night on Thursday night to see the J-Lo show, Jennifer Lopez.
All right.
And it turned out I brought my, I'm practicing with my 50 millimeter.
Good.
So I'm ready for. Actually, the images, it's such a good camera, and the images are so good that I'm very happy with it. But I didn't take any pictures in Vegas, only in the plane. Airport and plane pictures. I just forgot.
Did you fly in at night with all the lights and everything?
No, it was a daytime flight. Yeah, okay. But Vegas is pretty at night. You're right. It would have been kind of cool. Yeah. All right, good. This will be fun. I'll look forward to it.
All right, see you in a while.
Talk to you in a bit. Papa's got a brand new bag. Hello, Papa's. Happy Father's Day. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. Going to Kurt in Riverside, California. Hello, Kurt.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call. Happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. I got a HP 8720 printer that loses interface with the web. Half the time I try to print, and it comes up and says we can't talk to the printer. The printer says it's online, everything's good. The computer says it's online, everything's good, but no print. I have to reboot the printer to get it to work. Do you have anything off the top of your head that'll help me out?
No, and you're connecting it via Wi-Fi, you said, not via USB.
It's Wi-Fi, correct?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I'm glad restarting the printer works. It sounds like an issue. Well, clearly it's an issue with the printer, I would guess. That it's dropping the Wi-Fi for some reason.
Yeah, it's like it times out. If you let it sit for more than 5 or 10 minutes, it times out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and is there anything in the menu system that doesn't have a timeout, or is there anything in the menu that does that?
Yeah, I don't know why it would time out. On many printers, I don't know that printer specifically, but on many printers there's an eco mode. I don't know if you have an ECO, like as in ecological mode, where it uses less power. I would take a look at that.
Well, it does. It seems to happen when the display on the front goes out.
Yeah, so see if you can disable eco mode.
I'll try that.
Yeah, I do that anyway. Not that I'm unecologically friendly, but these printers use so little juice.
Yeah, I know.
That I don't really see. I mean, the computer's using far more power than the printer is. If it were a laser printer, that might be different because you have to keep the filament heated up. But an inkjet just sits there. It's not. What is it doing? It's nothing. So yeah, maybe turn off the eco mode. If somebody listening has some idea about what could do, one way JC Techie does say this might be one way to fix it, which is to assign a static IP address to the printer. This is a little bit of a black diamond tip. But as you know, when you get on a network, generally you don't have to choose an internet address. You just let the router do it. Basically, the router says, oh, I see a printer. You're going to be 192.168.1.200. Okay. But it is possible to, and this will be deep within your menu settings, to assign a specific IP address to say, no, I always want to be 192.168.1.101. That's my number. You'll have to, in your router, also reserve that number for the printer. So you want to look at IP address reservations or something like that in the router menu. And then in the setup, in the network setup for the printer, there'll be a way to choose a static IP address. And that might be one way to kind of force them. It may be that DHCP is failing. Might be a way of forcing that. But if anybody knows, if anybody's got an HP printer or this particular HP printer has a similar problem or has a fix, please, 8888 Ask Leo, or join us in the chat room. That's the smart kids in the back of the class. The chat room, irc.twit.tv. Sharon, Williamsburg, Ohio. Hello, Sharon.
Hi, Leo. Thank you for taking my call.
My pleasure.
I'm so excited to talk to you because I love your program. I've learned so much from you.
Thank you.
And I'm able to get you through iHeartRadio every week, so I've really learned a lot. So thank you for that.
Thank you for listening. I'm very grateful.
And I just have a quick question. I want to get a new iPad. I've had my iPad for a long time, and I love it. But my boss, who is really a computer geek, is telling me that the iPad Mini, the one that I want, is not going to be around much longer, he doesn't think. Is that true? Have you heard anything?
He doesn't know, nor do I. But if I were to speculate, well, I don't know. I mean, Apple really isn't telling us anything. So we didn't get new iPad announcements at WWDC this year, which means there won't be new iPads or probably any discontinuation until the fall, September or October. At that point, Apple might say, well, we're going to move everything to the Pro line, and we're going to, we don't really know what Apple's going to do with the iPad, because right now, if you look at the iPhone 10 and the iPad, they're very different user interfaces because of the home button and so forth. I think Apple's going to try to unify this and maybe make it all be like the iPhone 10, which means Face ID on an iPad and so forth. However, if you were to buy, I love my iPad Mini because it's so compact.
Exactly.
They haven't updated it in a while, and that may be why your boss thinks that. But you can buy an iPad Mini right now. The most recent version, I think, is a 2016. And it will continue to be usable and good for at least 4 more years.
Okay.
So why not? Really, the reason not to would be more that, the new one's coming out this fall, not that they're going to discontinue it. If you think about it, right?
Fall, you think?
Well, that's when they might discontinue it.
Yeah, exactly.
So is it you like the size? Is that what makes you interested in the Mini? Yeah, I love the size. I think it's the standard iPad is 9.7 inches. The iPad Pro is 10.5 or 12.9 inches. This is closer to 8 inches, which means it's pocketable. You can fit it in your purse. You can fit it in a suit jacket pocket. And I think for travel, it's fantastic. It isn't, though, a modern iPad in some senses. It's not as fast as the current iPads. It won't use a pencil. You have to have an iPad Pro or the new iPad 9.7 for that, the 5th generation.
Sure.
So if you
I'm not
wanted
really that interested in that.
okay, well then I would get it and just say no. I'm going to get it now before they discontinue it, and I'm pretty sure they're going to keep it going for, once they because they're still selling it, the operating systems will continue to work at least for a few more years, probably 4 or 5 years.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think this is a very nice iPad, and I hope actually they don't discontinue it. What I'd like to see them do, and I think this is actually unlikely, but what I'd like them to do is make this an iPad Pro. So I'd like to see the iPad Pro come in 3 sizes, the 8-inch, the 10.5, and the 12.9. I like the 10.5. That's the one I use. I had the 12.9-inch. It was too big. It was like a pizza box. But for travel, you can't beat 4. I don't bring it with me because it's a little older. It doesn't have some of the features of the Pro. But boy, I'd love to. It's certainly a very compact and nice iPad. Chris Marquardt, photo guy, coming up. How to take pictures through airplane windows next. Well, I found out if you go to lightroom.adobe.com, you can see your cloud, sort of. Most of the pictures aren't there. I don't know where they are. Oh, man. So this is kind of a little bit of a disappointment because, there's my Japan pictures. I wonder what, why all these exclamation marks? Oh, sync. It hasn't synced completely yet. I see. So it's synced up through some of my Japanese pictures, but not all of them. That's frustrating. So my airplane pictures aren't there. I don't know why these are there. I could delete these. This whole cloud thing. Creative Cloud, creative schmoud. So, but I will show your video. Anyway, and it's nice to know, and I guess I just need to sync faster or something.
Yep. So yeah, lightroom@adobe.com.
Yeah. And you just log into your Adobe account.
Yeah, about a second after you went on the other call, I remembered.
Yeah. It's obvious.
I don't often use that.
I never use it.
I never really have a reason to use it.
Yeah.
So.
Today I have a reason to use it, and it's not up to date.
It's a good way to share photos, but for some reason I'm hesitant to lock myself deeper into the Adobe ecosystem.
Exactly.
So, and that would definitely do it. If that becomes my standard way of sharing things, that's
what do you do it on your website, or what do you do?
Yeah, I have a little PHP based thing at chrismarquardt.com/photography.
Oh, nice.
Which is just a local self-contained thing, and it's not quite up to date though. But
what software are you using, or did you write it yourself?
No. That's called Litchi. It's an open source thing that just makes simple albums.
Yeah, I used to do that.
Quick.
I use SmugMug now because I really like SmugMug. I actually interviewed Don McCaskill last Friday.
Oh, cool!
Because they're, as you know, they bought Flickr.
Did you talk? Of course you did.
Yeah, and it's very exciting. They love Flickr and they want to keep it pure. And he said, we have different missions. Flickr is a photo sharing site. It's all about comments and stuff. SmugMug is more. It's kind of really, I think of it as a web. It does, they have comments, but nobody uses it. It's not really about commenting. It's more like a website for your photos.
So did you have it on triangulation?
Yeah. Yeah, it was great.
Okay.
Yeah, watch it. Yeah,
I'm
very encouraged. They get it. They understand Flickr. They're not going to do anything bad to it. They've merged the two teams. They're going to keep Flickr as a social site and SmugMug as a display site. So I'm very encouraged by that.
Okay,
I told him, I said, okay, your first task, get rid of the Flash slideshow on Flickr. He said, it's still Flash? I said, yes, because SmugMug is a very nice HTML5 slideshow.
Yeah, so I need to do something about that.
They'll fix that quick, I'm sure.
And we want to keep using Flickr for the Tech Guy show.
Right. And that's why I'm thrilled, because I was really, under Verizon, I was less likely to keep it there. But now...
I was just about to getting worried when that announcement came, and I was like, yes.
Yeah, really good news. He wouldn't tell me anything about the deal, but really good news.
No details?
No details. Mama, don't take my Kodachrome. Leah Laporte, the Tech Guy. We always play that song when Chris Marquardt's in town because we love talking about digital photography. Chris is a teacher, a photographer, a tech guru. He does the Tips from the Top Floor podcast, and his website is discoverthetopfloor.com. Joins us each week to help us get better pictures. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Leo.
It's good to see you. I wanted to, we use for our photo assignments from Chris Marquardt every month. We use the photo sharing site, formerly Yahoo photo sharing site, Flickr. And we started using that years ago, and it's great. There's, I don't know, how many, 11,000, 12,000 members on there. It's really great.
12, 13, it's an amazing amount.
So that's where if you take a picture for our current assignment, which is hand, take a picture illustrating the word or concept hand. It doesn't have to be of a hand. It could be, whatever. But if you want to participate, there's no prize. Just take a picture and upload it to the Flickr, to the Tech Guy group on Flickr, and tag it with the word hand. And I was a little worried when Verizon bought Yahoo that they would not do justice to Flickr. Thankfully, about 2 weeks ago, a company called SmugMug bought it. Now, if you don't know SmugMug, that may not be encouraging news, but I know SmugMug. I've been a customer of SmugMug since 2005. That's where my photos are, leo.camera. It's on a SmugMug page. I love SmugMug, and on Friday I interviewed its CEO, Don McCaskill, and he's very excited and plans to keep Flickr exactly as it is. He's keeping the entire team, and they're going to make it better, more open, and they're going to persist in the key thing to me for Flickr, which is it's where you share your photos and get input from other people. Right, Chris? That's what you use it for.
Oh, that's what we use it for here on the show. I mean, Flickr is a great place, and I was getting slightly worried when it became a Verizon property, but now, it feels much better. Thrilled.
And I told him, your first job, Chris, get rid of that flash slideshow player on the Flickr. SmugMug has such a nice slideshow.
Yeah, they need to change
replace
that.
it. But they will. I'm very, very excited. So what do you want to talk about today?
Well, yesterday I spent most of the time in a small airplane, like a little 4-seater airplane. A friend of mine has a pilot license, and he just asked me to want to join to fly to the North Sea.
You're a brave man. To the North Sea? Oh, man.
Yeah, just a bit of about an hour from here. And of course, the thing I do is I bring my cameras, and I do want to take some aerial photography on the way. But that is not easy. Now, and I want to talk about how to shoot through airplane windows. This, of course, also applies to like airliner windows, commercial airplane windows, because they're all made of a material that is not that friendly to photography, at least not the way they use it.
Oh, and commercial airplanes, it's usually double paned and scratched and old, and there's mist in it, and it's awful.
Exactly.
And yet, you're looking out there and saying, gosh, I want a picture of that.
And it's also it's perspex or plexiglass wherever you live, which is not which in that case is just not optical grade, and often it's bent. It's like in a shape that is not optically ideal. So with these bent windows, you will get reflections and you will get distortions. Those are two of your main enemies there. And you can do something about the reflections. It's not too hard. You need kind of a black cloth behind the camera or a black jacket or something to just cut out the reflections.
Yeah, that's like the old photographer's hood that they used to use in the old days.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But you can use anything, any dark cloth kind of thing. So if you have a fleece jacket with you, that can do. The distortion is a bit more difficult because you will. Oh, and by the way, the reflections also get close to the window, of course. So the closer you are, the less of a chance for the reflections. Just switch out the lights around you if you can, but in a bigger airplane, it's a bit of a problem. The distortion, the problem is you will often shoot at an angle. If you look at, especially in smaller airplanes, you will, some have the have the wings on the bottom, and some have them on the top. Now, when you are in a plane, most of them, I think, have them at the bottom. So when you are in that, you'll always have that wing in the way. So you'll always have to kind of shoot at an angle towards that perspex thing, and that's just a bit of a problem. So there's not much you can do
I think
about
what
that.
you should do is you should make the pilot open the side door and hang out the side door and take your pictures that way.
Have you seen these like professionals sometimes get a helicopter and then they have a harness on and they take the door off and then they kind of half hang out of that thing. And there are airplanes that you can open the window or that have a little opening in the window.
Yeah.
But now you have the problem that you're going 150 or more miles per hour and you're trying to stick your lens might fly away. So that's not always easy. With some planes, you can fly so slow that it is possible, but that is kind of more the realm of a helicopter.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, shooting down is a bit of a problem unless you have a pilot that likes to fly steep curves, so the airplane banks 45 degrees or more. Also kind of depends on the airplane and depends on a bit on your stomach if you can handle that.
What about a commercial airliner? I mean, obviously you can't open the door there. Is there anything? I like the hood idea. I'm going to bring a hood because I always get reflections.
Well, first of all, choose a seat that's not above the wing. That's one of the big
because otherwise you get a lot of the wing.
If you're above the wing, and you will find in Seat Guru or other websites, you will usually find a way to see if which numbers are above
I like to sit
wing.
behind the wing because almost always I'm shooting back. And it's hard to see what's coming up, but you know what you've seen going by. And I'm always shooting backwards. So if the wing's ahead of me, that's, to me, the easiest way to do that.
Well,
that's just me.
But that's certainly a possibility. The further back you sit, the more bumpy the ride sometimes gets, especially when they start to sink.
Not a problem in daylight, but at night that might be an issue, huh? Yeah.
Well, and then of course you have one other issue, and that is the vibrations and the shaking when it comes to shooting video.
Right.
And the video nowadays, one of the best things you can do is use a gimbal because they are digital gyroscopes that try to keep the camera steady. That is a good thing. They are available. I think they're still available mechanical gyros that you can hang under a camera. Have you ever seen those?
No.
Just imagine 3 capsules at 3 different angles towards each other, 90 degrees towards each other. And in those capsules, there are heavy weights that rotate at 20,000 or 30,000 RPM. And you know how a gyro, when it's an actual gyro that rotates, tries to keep its location.
Yeah.
And when you have 3 of those, that's a heavy contraption. We're talking 10 pounds or something, screwed to the camera, then the camera won't move. So you can really get rid of the vibration, but that is something that I guess only pros would use. I'm also not sure you could get this on a commercial plane.
Yeah. They might say, "What the heck is that?" No, you're not bringing that on, buddy.
But a regular gimbal, like one of these digital ones that you can put your camera on, especially for smaller cameras, that should be a good way to stabilize the camera when you shoot through a window.
Is there any way to, like after the fact, in post, in Lightroom or something, kind of clean up these images? Because they tend to be a little hazy. The color's muted. Sometimes there's defects.
The haze is a normal function of shooting into the distance. So there's some versions of Lightroom have a clarity slider, which is a good thing to use there.
Yeah,
that helps for sure. But the distortion, not that easy.
Yeah. It's too bad because often, at least for those of us who aren't pilots, some of the most beautiful views we have are from the airplane window, and you really want to take those pictures of sunsets and sunrises. And maybe just get a drone. Chris Marquardt, he's at discoverthetopfloor.com if you want to know more about his great photography. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More calls right after this. I took up all your time messing around. I'm sorry.
No worries.
But that's actually a great subject. I think a lot of people are very interested. Yeah.
Yeah, even though.
Yeah.
the commercial airplanes are usually the ones that people are more in, but those windows are sometimes so horrible.
They're terrible. Sometimes you get a good window and then you go boom, boom, boom. But
I think they could charge extra for like photo seats with
would that be
very
awesome?
clean windows,
With
and straight
with a
windows,
glass
optically designed windows.
Wouldn't that be smart?
That would be.
I do think that's why drones are so popular, because you can get aerial shots, not as high as an airplane usually, but you can get pretty good aerial shots with a drone. And they really
I have
good.
one. So
yeah. Oh, I know. I had one.
Fun toy. Yeah, you lost one.
One. I've lost them all. I'm not buying any more.
Well. How did you lose your last drone?
I was on a catamaran in the Caribbean, and I thought, it'd be really cool to have, because I had the Mavic Pro that did a follow thing. It'd be great if I get it up there and have it follow us. What a great shot that would be. But it hit the guy wire. It was very windy, and it hit. I couldn't control it enough to hit the guy wire and went down into the ocean. And that was that was it. And I'm not buying another one.
There are locations that are not ideal for sure.
Well, it was dumb. I was really dumb. I was being cocky because I'd been very careful with it up to that point. But yeah, somebody's reminding me that there's cameras, really great cameras on a lot of the Airbuses. The 380 has one down and one in the forward and one back, and it's so cool to sit on the plane and watch.
Yep,
I love that. Love that.
But people tend to do dumb things with new toys. When I had my drone, I was in a hotel and I decided to fly it indoors for the first time. Nothing happened apart from all my receipts being blown through the room. So yeah, it's a bit more wind than I expected.
Noisier too.
Yeah.
All right, my friend.
All right.
Talk to you next week.
Next week we'll review an assignment.
Oh, I better take some pictures. All right.
Till then.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. The phone number. Back to the phones we go. Ben's in Lakeville, Minnesota. Hello, Ben.
Howdy, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to you. Thanks.
Thank you. So I have a IO Gear key share that I got off of Amazon a few years ago. And a little backstory. So I work at a computer all day, and I use my work computer, my phone, and then also my Windows 10 Surface 3 laptop all together.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sick and tired of having to constantly, pick up either my tablet and do something on it, or my phone and do something on it. And I wanted something that I could use my mouse and keyboard with.
Yeah.
And so I went looking on Amazon, and I found this. It's essentially like a Bluetooth KVM that you plug the dongle into your one computer, and you can control all of your other devices, up to 4 devices with it.
Sounds great. IO Gear is one of the premier manufacturers of KVMs. That's keyboard, video, and mouse. The idea is one keyboard, one mouse, one monitor, and you share multiple computers. It's easy when you have HDMI or standard video cables and keyboards and mice on USB if a device has all those. But on a tablet, when you don't have that, there's no other way to do it. So it's using Wi-Fi and Bluetooth.
Yeah, it just uses Bluetooth, no Wi-Fi.
No Wi-Fi. Oh, that's interesting.
Yep.
So Bluetooth's fairly slow, so that's going to be a limitation in what you can do with the video.
Well, it doesn't have any video capabilities. It's just sending your keyboard and mouse inputs out to your other devices.
I got it. Okay, so you share a keyboard and mouse. That's all. Okay.
Yep, it's kind of like that Microsoft Garage over the Wi-Fi thing.
Yeah.
But that's too slow, and my work doesn't allow our devices on the company network, so this kind of gets around it.
Yeah.
But my question is, so it works fantastic on the work computer, which is Windows 7.
Okay.
I can control all the devices, and then it also works from my Surface 3 laptop or tablet to all my other devices. But when I'm at home, I have a Surface Pro 4 that runs Windows 10 Pro, and I can send the signal out to my phone and my other computer at home, but it doesn't send the mouse inputs. I mean, I can scroll up and down, but I can't see the cursor.
Oh, interesting.
And I can't do any button clicks, but it'll work fine if I'm using my Windows or my Surface 3, which uses Windows 10 Home. So I don't know why Windows 10 Pro is blocking the cursor output, I guess.
Everything else works, and in fact, the mouse even works. You just can't see where it is.
Exactly.
If you click there, it is there. I mean, you could click on something and it's there, but you just can't see
I can
it.
click on stuff, and I can even use my keyboard to move around, and it's just really puzzling. I don't understand this.
That is a puzzlement.
Yeah.
Why would Windows 10 Pro care? I bet you it's not Windows 10 Pro, but it might be something unique about the configuration of that newer Surface. Have you tried other? The first thing I would try is other cursor images. You can go into the settings and change.
Oh,
yeah, just see what other choices there are for the mouse cursor, and it may be even just doing that goes, oh yeah, okay. I see what you're trying here. I use the reason I know about that is because I always lose the mouse on my big screen Surface Studio. It just disappears. So I have a giant mouse pointer. This huge mouse pointer. You might try that. I don't know. It might be something about that particular pointer that's for some reason not registering.
Okay, well, it's because I can't even see it on my Android phone when I'm at home. When it's broadcasting
that's interesting.
From the Surface Pro to my Android phone either. I can't see it on that either.
Can't see it there either. I don't know.
Yeah, but at work I can see it just fine.
Boy, you got me.
And that's running off of a Windows 7. Okay.
Yeah, you got me. I have no idea. If maybe the chat room can think of something. I would just try changing the cursor to see if that somehow... I don't know why that would work, but, I've seen stranger things in my time on Windows, and I'm sure you have as well. I doubt that it's Windows 10 Pro saying, oh, no, you can't use that. But you might check on the IOGear forums and just search for Windows 10 Pro, see if people are complaining there's an issue with Windows. Is that your only Windows 10 Pro device?
Well, my wife has a Surface Pro 3, and I can't see it on that, too.
Aha! Well, you wish you told me that. Okay, so now we know it is Windows. That sounds like it is Windows 10 Pro. And so there's some limitation on KVMs and Windows 10 Professional. It may, and I wouldn't be surprised if there were, some security issues. On there.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it may be that Windows 10 Pro, which is intended for business, is somehow protecting you against some hijack, of your keyboard or mouse, So I would look into that maybe, and I think given that it doesn't work, I don't know why it doesn't work on Android, but it doesn't work on the two Windows 10 Pro systems you've tried it on. It sounds to me like your initial thought is it is Windows 10 Pro is correct. But why, I'm not sure. But my guess would be it has to do with the enterprise features of Windows 10 Pro. I'll look into it. Let's see if we can figure it out. Maybe somebody will call and say, oh, yeah, I have that problem. Some IT professional will say, yeah, I know what you have to do. It may be just loosening the security would make a difference.
Okay.
I appreciate your call. I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But you know what? You've asked now, not just me, but the entire world. Somebody will call in 8888 Ask Leo, or perhaps somebody in the chat room and come up with a solution. 8888 Ask Leo. To Palm Desert we go next. Alan is on the line. Hi, Alan.
Hey, Leo. First-time caller, long-time listener.
Thank you, sir.
It's a great show, always. My question, I'm going to a place in Michigan where I do not have any way to get legal web Wi-Fi.
You mean you can get illegal Wi-Fi? What is illegal Wi-Fi?
Well, I
borrowing it from borrowing it from the neighbor.
Borrowing a neighbor's.
So the place in Michigan, it's probably on the lake, right? Beautiful spot.
It is. It is.
You go, is this heaven? No, it's Michigan. Yeah.
Oh, it's Michigan, but it's wonderful.
Yeah. No, it is wonderful.
My brother-in-law lives about an hour from the lake, and he gets direct TV and
but
lives
he's
out
just
on
not.
a farm.
He just never bothered to get Wi-Fi or internet.
Internet out on the lake.
Yeah.
So he also has rabbit ears.
No cable. And does he? It's not something you want to get? What's the question? You want to know how you could do it?
The question, yeah. So I have an iPad Pro. I mean, I'm a big Mac user.
You know what? I would look at 3G or 4G. I don't know what the cell service is out there.
It's good. I do get Verizon out there.
So call Verizon, and you could probably rent it. They certainly sell them. Something they used to call them MiFi cards. They're little cards. They get the internet via 4G, which in many cases is faster than anything else you'd get by the lake. And you can connect up to, depends, sometimes 5, sometimes more devices. You'll pay a monthly fee. It's fairly hefty, $60 or $70, but you got internet. That, frankly, is probably the best way to do it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, you know, all of that. Collectible crypto kitties. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. You can call outside that area, but just, use Skype out or something, and it'll still be free. Website where we put everything, techguylabs.com. Place for you to put your comments and thoughts. And if you have answers for some of our unanswered questions today, that's a good place to put them. techguylabs.com. Yes, crypto kitties. Do you remember this story earlier this year? It was a site based on, blockchain, which is, if you add blockchain to anything, you get instant venture capital. Blockchain is the technology behind cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. It's actually kind of a cool technology. Think of it as technically it's a distributed ledger. So, normally, let's use a bank as an example, but it doesn't have to be currency, but we'll use a bank as an example. You have a digital ledger, money in, money out, who's owed what, who deposited what. That's a ledger. It's just a book that keeps track of everybody's deposits, all your accounts, all your customers. But it's centralized. It's in the bank. The blockchain has the same information. It could also be, who owns property. It could be anything you could put in a database, any kind of data. But instead of it being in one central place, it's distributed among all the people participating. So if you're using Bitcoin, everybody who has a Bitcoin wallet has a copy of the entire blockchain stored in their Bitcoin wallet. Unfortunately, right now, that means huge amounts of data. I don't know how many hundreds of gigabytes it is, but it's a big. There are ways to make it less huge, but the idea is essentially there. And it's secure. It's encrypted. So you can't tell what's in the ledger exactly. You can't read it, so it's still private, but it's decentralized. No one person controls it. And that makes it more reliable because there are many copies of it. Somebody thought, it'd be kind of cool if we had a blockchain game in which instead of storing money or real estate, we were storing digital cats. They called it Crypto Kitties. Users can buy colorful, googly-eyed cats. According to Business Insider, some of these cost thousands of dollars. The rarer cats, hundreds of thousands of dollars. The reason being, it's speculative. Somebody will pay even more for it because it's so rare down the road. You can also breed cats. So think of the cats as Bitcoin, but not. Kitty cats instead of coins. It's the same otherwise. People literally have spent millions of dollars on crypto kitties. In fact, in March, it was such a hot commodity that a couple of venture capitalists, Andreessen Horowitz, Mark Andreessen's got a lot of money because he invented Mozilla and Netscape, invested. Union Square Ventures invested. Together, they gave the company $12 million. It was one of the, according to investors, they told Business Insider, the most important and applicable use cases of the blockchain, the ability to safely store digital collectibles online. And now's the time when we can enjoy some schadenfreude, the shameful joy at the failure of others. Because in March, they got $12 million in venture capital. By June, the number of transactions had dropped by 98.4%. And, people just stopped buying CryptoKitties. The co-founder emailed a Business Insider and said, well, that's to be expected. That's to be expected. But it doesn't mean fewer transactions, doesn't mean fewer players. No, there's still we're delivering numerous ways to engage with CryptoKitties outside of buying and breeding them. You were using not Bitcoin, but another cryptocurrency you might have heard of called Ethereum for these ethereal purchases. According to Greylock Partners, shortly after the big investment by Andreessen Horowitz, there were about 300 daily active users on CryptoKitties on Friday. 300. Not a lot of people. But you know what? If each one's spending $1 million, it's still worth something. Well, maybe not. The average price of CryptoKitties is now $5 per digital cat. All-time median high, $41. And as I said, some were hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I don't know if people lost money on CryptoKitties. I hope they had fun playing. But as far as anybody can tell, it's kind of the end of the line for CryptoKitties. So, if you were thinking maybe you were going to make your fortune it's CryptoKitties.co, by the way, if you want to. Collectible, breedable, adorable. Collect and breed digital cats. Get a real cat. I think you'll find it more satisfying, and it's a lot less expensive. Line 3, Al in Vista, California. Hi, Al. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. Great. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure.
I think the Bitcoins and CryptoKitties are going the way of the Beanie Babies and
exactly
and tulip bulbs.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yes, exactly. How do we get these feverish, I guess, greed, probably?
They're just speculative.
Speculative, yeah.
Maybe we don't know enough about it, but I just don't understand it. Okay, my question has to do with my renewal of the Internet antivirus software. I've had both Norton and McAfee in the past. I won't say which one it is. But I have a Windows 10 laptop, and I'm wondering, does the Windows program have enough built-in?
Yes.
You don't really need these.
No.
Okay.
I honestly, for some people, if you had teenagers or people who are pretty unsophisticated and got into trouble a lot, it'd probably be worth having a third-party antivirus on there. But honestly, the problems caused by antiviruses are really worse in some cases, most cases, than the problems they solve.
Can they slow down the computer too?
They slow down the computer. They can cause compatibility issues. A lot of the problems we hear on this show come from people with security software blocking them from doing things they want to do. Oh. The other issue, there's a large issue that any program you run, but particularly antiviruses, can actually open holes on your computer. And there have been several cases of both Norton and McAfee opening doors to bad guys.
Wow.
Now, they fix those when they find out about them, but if you're putting an antivirus on your system and it allows better access for hoodlums, that's not a good thing. The reason is antivirus is installed down in the kernel. They give a bad guy more access than just a standard program.
Now, if I cancel it, will those holes still, will they take off all the cookies?
No, they won't. You need to. So in both Norton and McAfee, they have uninstalls, if you go to the programs and features on Windows, but that's not going to do it. You need to go to their site and get a standalone uninstaller to get all the bits and pieces out. And I do encourage that. Now, if you don't have an antivirus, remember Windows Defender is on there. There is it's an average. It's not great. It's not terrible antivirus on there. But my other problem with antiviruses is more philosophical, which is it gives you a false sense of security. No antivirus, Windows, McAfee, Norton, catches more than half of the viruses you encounter.
You just don't open up attachments. That's the main thing.
If you're sophisticated enough to not open attachments, not download stuff from strangers, you go to Facebook and your friend says, oh, I have video of what you did last night, you won't believe it. And you thought, well, wait a minute, I was in my jammies at home last night, but I better check this out. And then you get a notice saying how your flash is out of date. You've seen that 100 times. So you download that, except it's not flash. It wasn't your buddy, and you just infected your machine. If you don't fall for that, You really don't need an antivirus.
Should you avoid like if it doesn't
Yes.
say HTTPS? Do you?
Well, that's not so much important, but do go to good, reliable sites from. If you're going to get software, get it from people you know and trust, because any software you install is a trust relationship.
Right.
Because all software can be bad for you. So install, in my opinion, install less than as little as you can possibly get away with. Only.
Time for one,
Go ahead. Yeah.
One more quick question.
Sure.
About, when they say you can run scan. When you run those quick scans or
Those are fine.
do they work?
Yeah. You can go to antivirus.com. That's Trend Micro. There are dozens of online scans. F-Secure offers one. Those are fine. Frankly, Defender is fine. Every time you update Windows, you get them. Here's the most important things for you to do. Number one, update all the software on your machine, particularly your operating system. Anything that goes online, those are the most vulnerable. Make sure they're constantly updated. Always have the latest version. Number two, don't accept candy from strangers.
Right.
Don't click links in email. Don't click links in messaging. Don't click links on Facebook. If you want to go to a site, if you get an email from your bank saying you've been attacked, don't click the link in the email. Type in your bank's name by hand in the browser.
Right.
And if it's not HTTPS, you're right. Don't use it. And then finally, I would say, very important is don't install software you don't need and install it only from reliable sources.
Thank you, Leo.
You're welcome. If you do all that, you're actually safer than if you install an antivirus, in my opinion. But my wife says this. She said, we have a 15-year-old. Now, he's not running an antivirus because I keep an eye on what he does, and I've trained him. There's another job. Train the people in your lives not to do stupid things. But in the old days, I've spent many a long night, removing malware from his Windows machine. He's a gamer. He likes Windows. If you have that kind of a problem, a teenager or some unsophisticated users in your family who tend to get infections, an antivirus will help you a little bit. But don't let it give you a false sense of confidence, because stuff still is going to get through. It's still going to get through. Particularly the most modern, sophisticated, up to the latest stuff, that's going to get through. The old viruses won't, because the antivirus knows about them. The new stuff, it has no idea. You also, by the way, with antiviruses, you want to be really careful about anything called an antivirus, because it could not be. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We're comparing what we got for Father's Day. Lawn Dog in our chat room said, I got a Star Wars mug, a Star Wars t-shirt, and my favorite brand of cashews, plus a big, big breakfast. I got a hug. But, a hug's pretty good, too. Well, not a hug. A hug I owe you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 80. When your kids are in their 20s, you get, there's not Father's Day's not quite the event it used to be. 80, and that's fine with me. 8888, ask Leo. That's the number. 888-827-5536. Steve in Westminster, California is next. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Leo. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Thank you. Well, I got a 10-day-old baby girl for Father's Day.
Congratulations. That's awesome. Your first?
My very first, yep.
This is your first Father's Day. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. And hence my call. I'm an Apple guy, and I drank the Kool-Aid, and quite frankly, you filled the cup for me. So.
Oh, nice. Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome.
But I love it. But so I have an iPhone X, and it's a great camera, but it kind of limits you to, an iPhone camera.
The iPhone cameras are good. All of the best camera phones, the Pixel 2 XL and are very, very good, but they have limitations compared to a real camera. They don't have very good zoom. The iPhone has a little zoom, but not much. They tend to take a little more time to get going. So if you've got an infant, wait till she starts crawling. You're going to need something a little faster, because as fast as it is to take the phone out and press the button twice and you can get a picture, you can do it faster with a camera. The other issue is the quality. And while iPhone and Pixel 2 and Samsung's Galaxy S9 quality is very good for a camera phone, it's still a little tiny pickup, a little tiny lens, plastic at that. And so it's not going to be as good as even a couple $100 camera, in my opinion.
Right. So my last real camera was a D200.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Do you still have the lenses?
I do.
So you want to stay Nikon then, for sure.
Okay, because I was looking at the big box stores. They got a D70-500
Very nice.
bundle for, I think, $1,500. And then
So once
the
you
other one I was going to ask you about was the EOS 80D.
That's nice too. That's Canon. Now, here's the thing. I mean, the big expense on a digital camera, and the thing you're going to keep is the lens. Because the lens technology isn't advancing anywhere near as fast as the body technology. So you can expect Nikon and Canon both to come out with new bodies in a year or two that you might even want. But you're putting your money in the glass, in the lenses. How many lenses do you already have?
I've got 3, but I mean, one's a Sigma, so I think that would work with the Canon as well.
If it worked, well, no, it has to be the same mount.
Oh, okay.
So you bought the Sigma for the Nikon. It's not going to work with the Canon.
Okay. So I've got 3 Nikon lenses that I use.
So you already have an investment. I mean, if they're crappy lenses, well, then you don't care. But if you think you might want to keep using those lenses, don't ever, really, an adapter is not an option. You could get an adapter. That's not an option. You're going to want to get a Nikon body. And by the way, that's not a sacrifice in any way.
Okay, now, is it worth, because sometimes the lenses they provide...
No, you got a lens. Don't get a kit lens. Save some money. Use your existing lenses. Or get a better lens. The kit lenses, that's what we call them, the ones they come with the camera.
Right.
It's the kit lens.
Right.
They're not bad, but they're not the best lenses that Nikon offers.
So give me so I'll buy the body, and would you recommend the 7500 body?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, if you're going to upgrade... What you're looking for is full frame sensor.
Okay.
And I think that Nikon is, Nikon and Canon are old line, and they've been, it'll be interesting to see how they respond to the mirrorless cameras from Sony and Olympus and other companies, Fuji. There's some Panasonic. There's some very, very good mirrorless cameras out there. But... at this point, I don't think the mirrorless are particularly better than a Nikon. And since you have Nikon lenses, you've already made an investment. Why throw it out?
Okay, so give me a recommendation. Obviously, I'm going to be taking about 2,500 pictures a day of my daughter.
Yes, you are. You're going to love it. This is a great time to get a camera. It's 8 frames a second, which is pretty good. That's a fast camera. It shoots you 4K video. You're going to want, and that's my advice, is every once in a while, stick some video, 8 seconds of video in there. You'll be glad when your kids are my kids' age to look back and say, oh, man, she's crawling. Yeah.
And now give me the lens you would recommend.
I have to take a break. Hang on. I can give you some more specific lens recommendations when we get back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, what I really want to know is what you've got already.
I've got, and I have an 18-200.
Okay, that's a crazy lens. Probably not super quality. Usually when you have an extreme zoom like that, the quality's not great. But on the other hand, really handy because you've got everything in one lens.
Right.
Is that the Sigma? Is that the Sigma?
No, that's a Nikon.
And it's a Nikon it's probably an APC sensor, not a full frame sensor, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I haven't bought any lenses since the D200 came out.
Okay.
So, and I haven't used it forever. And of course, the fact that uses a compact flash card. It doesn't even use it.
Now they use SD cards, which is actually a huge thing.
Right.
So what'll happen if you have a lens that's marked 18-200 for an APS-C sensor is you're going to actually multiply that by, I think it's 1.5 to get the effective focal length for your full frame sensor. So that'll be something like 27 by 300, which is not bad.
Yeah,
That's
but
not
I don't
bad.
need, for right now, I'm going to be, 3 feet away, 2 feet away from my daughter.
So the 18-200, what else do you have?
I'm trying to remember. The Sigma, I believe, is a macro.
Okay, that's not going to be much use unless you want to get nose hairs.
And And then I have the other lens I think came with the 200.
Okay.
It was a kit lens.
So,
yeah.
To be honest, I mean, none of those lenses are cheap, but you could probably sell them, get some of that money back if you really were set on going to Canon. But honestly, I think the 7500 is a great choice. And and you've already got some lenses, so you don't need to go crazy with the lenses. The 7500, I was mistaken, is not full frame. It's an APS-C, so it's very similar to your old camera in that regard. That's fine. Here's what I would do. I would look at, for baby pictures, look at maybe an 85 millimeter prime that's a little fast, like f1.8.
Okay.
And the reason you want that is because low light, right? And the reason 85 is slightly it's a perfect portrait length. You don't have to get in her face.
Okay.
So you can be a little distant. You can, you might actually find it inconvenient if it's mom and baby. You might want a 50 because you might want to get in a little closer to get both of them. With an 85 and mom and baby, you're going to have to maybe get 10 feet away. But on the other hand, you're not intruding. And maybe you come through the kitchen door and there the two of them are, and oh my God, and you could take a picture without intruding on that scene.
Right.
So an 85 is a classic portrait lens.
Okay. And what about a zoom?
Yeah, they'll have the kit lens is probably 24 to 70 or something like that. I'll have to look.
It's I can tell you it's a 7300 and 1855 VR lens.
Oh, that's crazy. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. I'm looking on Amazon. You could get it with a prime lens instead. A prime means a single focal length. You got a zoom. You got your 18 to 200. You don't need that anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
So look at a fixed. What you really want is something that's good in low light. That is an f2 or less.
And I don't mind spending, $900 bucks on a lens.
Yeah, you might be on a really good fast lens, but on the other hand, you're going to keep that's the investment. You're going to get a new body, but you'll always have those lenses. So I always buy better lenses than I need to because I'm going to keep those. And I would say if they've got a good 50 or 85 f2 or less, that's what you want because you want a low light lens because you don't want to have flash. You just want to get those pictures, those candids.
Okay, that's great advice, Leo.
Have fun. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
I tell you, I'm in heaven.
Oh, you sure are. Really enjoy every minute. These are the most precious minutes, and I'm glad you're going to get some pictures. Yeah.
Thanks.
Take care.
Much.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Bye.
I loved the last call. He's got a new 10-day-old baby. His first Father's Day. He wants to get a good camera. You bet you do. And I talked off the air with him to find out what lenses he already had. He has a pretty good zoom. He doesn't need a zoom. What he really wants, and what I think would be probably the first lens to get anybody, if you're getting a new, maybe you've got a kid in high school who's showed an interest in photography and you want to get her a camera, is what we call a prime lens. Not a zoom, but a single focal length. And ideally, if you can afford it, a prime, what we call fast lens. The speed of a lens is tied to its aperture or f-stop. The wider open the lens can go, the lower the f-stop number, the better it works in low light. And, for something like an infant, low light's it. You're not going to use a flash. You don't want to use a flash. It would destroy the picture. You want to get those beautiful, softly lit pictures, maybe a little light coming in from the window, mother and child, the mom holding the baby. And ideally, you'd have something that's probably either a 50 millimeter, which is sometimes considered a normal lens, that is roughly what your eye sees, or a little bit more telephoto, a little bit more zoom than that, maybe a 85 millimeter. That's often considered the classic portrait lens because you don't have to get in somebody's face when you're shooting 85 millimeter. So a 50 or an 85, 50 is kind of the perfect all-purpose lens. And then ideally something f2.0 or lower. A perfect lens f1.8, 50 millimeter. If you get that, and leave that on, don't use anything else, that's going to be a great lens for all of those portraits. If you want to be a little less intrusive, stand a little farther back at the 85 is good. That's why portrait photographers often use it. Some of my best images are with my 50 millimeter f2 lens. I feel like that is kind of a great lens. If you can go a little faster, even better. Because if you're indoors, you don't want to turn the lights on. Say, hold on, keep holding the baby. I'm just going to turn some lights on. No, you don't want to do that. You want to get that shot. And modern cameras are very good in low light. Modern digital cameras, much better than smartphones. And this is where really I should have brought this up. The camera phones are great in many circumstances. The place they really almost always fall down is low light. And by the way, low light's anything that's not outdoors. Indoors is always low light. Unless you have, as I do, studio lights shining on you all the time. And even then, it's not that bright compared to outdoors. So if you're indoors, as you probably are with your infant, and maybe it's a little dim and quiet, a fast lens will be a huge boon. And of course, as everybody says, it's not the camera, it's the photographer. You can get a great picture with anything, including, of course, an iPhone 10. But I think there's something about having good equipment that helps. It gives you more capability, more flexibility. And man, what better time than when your baby's born, because you want those pictures. I look back, digital photography was just starting when my kids were born in 92 and 94. I didn't have a digital camera for maybe till 2000. And that's when all my pictures start. I have a ton of pictures from the year 2000 on, because you take more pictures in digital, obviously. And even some video. And that's the other advice. I give everybody this advice. And I got it from a friend of mine, great photographer named Ray Maxwell. It was his idea, and Ray was so right on. He said, you've got a still camera. Whether it's a camera phone or a point and shoot or a fancy DSLR, but you're mostly taking stills because that's what the camera's for. But just remember, you also have a movie mode. And every once in a while, maybe every 10th picture, 5th picture, 10th picture, if you can remember it, don't shoot what you don't want is an hour and a half. You don't want 5 minutes. You don't want a minute. Shoot 6 to 8 seconds. That's all you need. It's going to capture movement and it's going to capture sound, but most importantly, it's going to capture a moment. And those moments, when you mix them in a slideshow with the stills, they make a huge difference. And I always try to remember this when I travel now, when I'm doing portraits. Whenever you're taking pictures, especially of a baby, get a couple of 6 seconds. That's all. You don't want more than that. Just a quick on and off, because that really enhances it, I have to say. 8888 Ask Leo. Line 4 is Brett, Baltimore, Maryland. Balmer. Hello, Brett.
Hey, Leo. Hey, I have a similar question as the last guy. I'm also looking at a camera because iPhone is great, but it doesn't take the greatest pictures everywhere.
Right.
So we're traveling this year a few times. I was looking at getting the Sony mirrorless, the Alpha line.
Yeah, I have several, far too many Alpha bodies. They're great. They're great.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you had any recommendations on any other cameras that are similar to the Alphas, because the Alphas seem to be, a lot of people online say are some of the best, and I just wanted to get
they're very expensive. I have an A7R2. They just came out with the R3. This is a $3,000 or $4,000 body. Sony also has a disadvantage. They don't have a lot of lenses. They're new in this, and their lens range is pretty limited. That may not be an issue for you. For most people, it's not. But if you're a serious photographer, that's something to consider. It's full frame. Remember, that's when the sensor on the camera is roughly the size of a 35 millimeter film negative. So it's pretty big. And a bigger sensor does a couple of things. It gives you better low light, gives you higher resolution, often does a better job of rendering the image. But I would also look at, it depends on your budget and your seriousness, Micro Four Thirds. Sometimes it's called MFT. And the reason is it's a much smaller sensor, but there's a huge range of Micro Four Thirds lenses. And even though there are a number of manufacturers, all the lenses work with all the cameras. So it's a lens standard as well as a sensor standard. And my favorite is the Olympus OMD, much less expensive, but man, you get great results. My wife, it kind of makes me mad because I shoot very expensive bodies. She shoots an OMD I think EM5 Mark 2 or 3, and I guess Mark II, and it is stunning. The images she gets are better than mine. It's a lightweight camera. It's mirrorless. It's fast. I think the controls are simpler than the Sony. The Sony's controls are out of control. But sometimes pros want more settings, right? You don't need all those settings. So depending on how serious you are, what do you want to shoot?
Yeah, we're traveling to Europe in the fall, and I just want to shoot with different architecture, different sites. And I'm not a serious photographer. I'm just looking to get into taking.
Then I wouldn't get an Alpha. I really wouldn't. It's very expensive and probably overkill.
I was looking more at like the 6000 series because they're a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, those are good sensors. There are a number of really good. I would tell you what I would do is go to DP Review and take a look at their various Micro Four Thirds. I think for you, a Micro Four Third, it's going to be lighter. It's still mirrorless. Quality is excellent. It's not quite as high resolution as the Sonys, but you're not even looking at a full-frame Sony, so I think it's going to be fine in that regard. And I think they just do a great job. My favorite is the Olympus, the OMD. I think they're very, very nice. They're compact. They feel and look like an old-school camera. They intentionally did that, but the imagery they get is spectacular. Go to my wife's website, lifeoflisa.com, and look at the images. She shoots the Olympus exclusively, and it just looks great. You can compare her images to mine. Mine are at leo.camera. And even though I'm using a big full-frame sensor camera, much heavier, hers are better than mine. I was just looking at my first, or I think this might be my second digital camera. I still have it. I have a little museum of antique technology behind me in my studio, and this is this was an Olympus I bought, I think, in the year 2000, the C3040, 3.3 megapixels. But I really resisted for a long time. I used film, and I was very resistant to digital cameras. But by the time they got to 3 megapixels, I thought, well, they're good enough now. And of course, my latest camera, I think, is 42 megapixels, the Sony A7R2. So, doesn't take that long. Get those pictures while ye may. 8888 Ask Leo. The phone number, let's see here. Line 1 is John in Orange County, California. Hi, John.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
Good, thanks. I'm kind of ashamed for my youth because I'm pretty bad at technology for my age, but I'll see if you can help me out.
Are you a millennial?
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids are too. It's funny because I thought millennials would be great at technology. But really, you guys haven't had to deal with technology in the same way that my generation had to. We had to figure it out. It just comes for free for you. So very few millennials are really technology mavens. You don't need to be. It just works for you.
I know. It kind of just grew up with it. Never had to fiddle around with it too much.
Right, exactly. So what can I do for you?
So I'm kind of been biting the bullet on this issue, just waiting, but I decided to call you since I have a chance today. It's for my photos for iPhone and iMac. I hate the new Photos application they have.
Yeah.
I like the old one better.
Yeah.
And I have it on my phone where it's syncing. So if I delete it on my phone, it deletes it off of my MacBook Pro. And I wonder if I could, because I always like the backup aspect of it, but...
well, it's probably going to iCloud where the full originals are kept. I bet you.
Yeah, so I was just wondering if there's any way I can stop it from, I can keep it to keep going to my computer, but if I delete it on my phone, it doesn't delete off my computer.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, now I get it. So the settings on the phone that you should look at, the photo settings on the phone are, and actually, if you want to look right now and just tell me if you're using the iCloud photo library, because you probably are, and if you are, that's in the settings. If you go to settings on the phone,
it's turned on right now.
Yeah. So what that means, and you can read it here, is automatically upload and store your entire library to iCloud to access photos and videos from all your devices. So if that's turned on, you're backing up to iCloud. Now, of course, Apple doesn't give you very much free storage. So the next thing that's going to happen...
I sent one for the extra 50 gigs or whatever.
Yeah, Apple's going to start bugging you. Buy more, buy more, buy more. That's why they have that switch. But right below it, you'll see two things. Optimize phone storage and then download and keep originals. When you do optimize phone storage, you delete a photo locally. It does not delete it on the iCloud photo library. It just deletes it on the phone, and then you go look at your Mac settings and make sure that you have this setting on the Macintosh set to keep originals. It won't delete it on the Mac anymore. But what you probably want is optimized phone storage. That'll minimize, then you won't have to delete anything. What'll happen on the phone when you optimize phone storage, it'll keep smaller thumbnail versions of all the images and only download the full image if you start to edit it. And it will pay attention to your phone storage, and if you get low, it'll kind of get rid of stuff. So having iCloud Photo Library turned on means you no longer really have to delete stuff on your phone, unless you're deleting it for other reasons. Maybe for privacy or whatever. You just, it's junk, I don't want it, but you want to keep it on your Mac. If you want to keep it on your Mac, then you want to change the settings in Photos on the Mac so that it keeps the originals.
Yeah, I have it on the MacBook Pro. It says download originals to this Mac.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're using iCloud Photo Library.
Yes.
It's definitely not deleting. When you delete on your phone, well, now let me try this, because I do remember it saying...
I'm kind of fiddling around myself, and just took like random photos, and I think it has been deleting with me.
Yeah, that's not good. Let me look at this. I'll delete a photo here real quickly and just see. You know, this is why I use Google Photos, by the way. Apple Photos, it's not obvious what's going on. So let me delete a photo.
It's kind of confusing.
Yeah, it's more than confusing. Let me pick a photo, trash it. It's going to say this photo will be deleted from the iCloud Photo Library on all your devices. Yeah, that sounds like it's going to delete it from iCloud as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I just did it again, and it deleted just a random photo.
Yeah, it's going to delete that from everywhere. Well, that's annoying as heck. All right, I'm going to give you a workaround. It doesn't involve Apple's photos, but you can use Google Photos, which is free. You'll have to have a Google account. I bet you do.
I do.
Yeah, so you install Google Photos on your phone, and then it will back up everything that's on your phone to Google Photos. At that point, there's a setting in Google Photos that says delete everything I've backed up. And then it will delete everything on your phone, but you'll have a full copy on iCloud, because it won't delete it on iCloud, and on Google Photos.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, that's why I use Google Photos. Amazon Prime, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you have unlimited photo storage there. Flickr gives you a terabyte of a terabyte of storage. There's Dropbox, Microsoft's OneDrive. There are lots of ways you can save your photos. I think that the problem is Apple, it's not clear. And you can see I'm still confused, even though I've been using this for years. It's not clear what Apple is going to do with your stuff. And so in this case, it's a shame that let me look at my iCloud Photo Library now and just see if it's been deleted from there. Have you checked iCloud.com to see if it was also deleted on iCloud?
I haven't yet. I was going to soon, but
that's what I would check. But in the meantime, it's good to have a second backup anyway. You don't want to put all your eggs in the iCloud basket.
Yeah, so for Google Photos, I just, what was that one setting you said I had to do again?
So you download it, and when you download it, go into the settings on Google Photos, and you'll see that you can back up automatically to Google Cloud. And then what there is somewhere in there, I can't remember exactly where it is, I think it's the same place, there's a setting that says delete everything you've backed up. And it's free up space. So, and this is another thing Apple does is confusing. On the iPhone, generally settings are stored not in the application, but in the settings application. In the case of Google Photos, it's stored in Google Photos, not the settings application. So if once you're backing up, and you'll see I have a button that says backup complete. Once you've backed up, then if you go into the settings, free up space, it will say these, in my case, the 1,085 items from your device have been safely backed up to your Google account. Do you want me to delete them? You say delete, and now you've freed up a lot of space on your phone. But you haven't lost any pictures.
They're still in the cloud.
They're still in the cloud. They're still safe. And I don't think it will affect iCloud because it's a separate setting, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So should I just keep iCloud on just in case and just use Google?
I would have both, right? Because here's the nightmare scenario. Google, for reasons of its own, decides, you don't deserve a Google account. And then you've lost them. Or Apple decides that. But even if Apple decides, it's unlikely Google and Apple will decide it at the same time. So this way you have two places. It's safe, even if the nightmare scenario, for one reason or another, Apple or Google says, this kid doesn't deserve his storage. Hey, good luck. Thanks for calling. I appreciate it. Hey, thanks to Michael Cozio, our musical director. You did a great job playing the Father's Day hits. Thank you, Michael. Thanks to Kim Schaffer for answering the phones. Most of all, thanks to you for joining us. I'm Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Dads, have a great geek week. The rest of you too. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.